In this video, we're going to be looking at a bushcraft blade that I've wanted to check out for a long time. I've seen other reviews on it, but I haven't gotten my hands on it yet, and that blade is the BPS Adventurer. Stick around. I've had my eye on the Adventurer for a while. The Adventurer is a Scandi grind blade made out of 1066 carbon steel, and it has a lot of size to it. It looks very practical. It looks like it's going to be very versatile and very useful. And for that reason, I have been wanting to test it. It's kind of a cool spring day here in Southern Virginia. I thought to myself, I think I'd like to get down to the creek and have a little fire. And I'm going to take my BPS Adventurer down there with me. We're going to knock around with this blade just a little bit. We're going to talk about its specs, and we're going to just have a nice relaxing time. And I'd love for you to come along. Beautiful bushcraft blade here, 10 inches in length. Blade is 5 1/3 of an inch. Now a blade like this is not going to bring a lot of thickness. It's a slicing blade. Like I said, it's heavy duty. It's about 3 millimeters altogether. It's got this walnut handle in a Danish oil color, but you can also get this in black as well, and that includes the sheath. Fairly light knife, 5.7 ounces. And with this being a Scandi grind, we don't have to talk about the sharpness. But it does come hair shaving sharp, just a crazy sharp knife, which is most of the time the case with a new Scandi grind knife. Nice looking sheath here with a ferro rod included. So this thing is ready for the woods. By now, you've probably seen where I reviewed their Raven knife. It was more of a tactical style fixed blade. And as I've said before, it's refreshing to do a knife review where I don't need to talk about combatives, which is largely my wheelhouse in a sense. But don't get me wrong, I'm an outdoorsman as well. I'm a woodsman, especially this time of year, spring and fall. I love to get out here, and it's ultra quiet today. This is one of my favorite spots in the whole wide world, especially this time of year when everything is starting to bloom. Tell me that's just not some gorgeous scenery right there. So sharp. Let's try this old ferro rod out here. I cheated. I brought some lint from the house, and I've got some of these little fat wood chips here. Look at there. Keep some dryer lint in your pack, ladies and gentlemen. We got some rain yesterday, so I figured it would be a little wet down here. So just in case, I had a little lint as some backup. I joke when I say I cheated and used some lint. It's actually no cheating at all. Knowing how things can be should help us know how to prepare. So keeping something with you that you can burn really easy is always a good thing to have if you think you might be in that situation. But I'll echo something I heard somebody in the comment section say one time. You know, we can really romanticize being in quote unquote survival situations, but most of the time when we go out, we're ultra prepared. And I think most of us knows that. Something I want to point out here also is the choil down on the bottom for sharpening. Gives you a really good starting point. I need to remove this little tree from the area to clean this place up a little bit. So let's do a little batoning. Yeah. That's ultra sharp, but I'm gonna kind of hit this at another angle here. Look at that. Golly, it just cut right through that. A lot of times with the slightest bit of batoning, the spine takes damage, but that did not take any damage with that single task. So I figured I would display that. The BPS Adventure is a super practical blade if you want to take a blade down in the forest with you and prepare a fire, maybe make coffee, prepare some food. And don't even get me started with this knife and cutting meat and being able to use not only as a bushcraft blade, but something you can clean up and use at dinner time as well. Just super sharp, gonna dice right through meat. Let's give this thing a little tip test. All right, moderate test passed. With any kind of tip usage, I would encourage anyone to be realistic. You know, this is a pretty strong tip. This is a strong blade. This 1066 carbon steel is not weak. It's thinner than some knives, but it's still strong. But I'm not gonna do the heaviest tip torture with this like I would do with like a Becker knife, like a BK2, K-bar BK2, or like a Gerber strong arm. You can tip test those knives all you want to. But I think this could handle some moderate tip testing. If you needed to pry anything open or get into a tight space, I believe this would do well for you. It's got a thick tip anyway. And I'm hoping by now you've been able to see just how sharp this is. Such a sharp blade. Look at how it's cutting into that wood. This is the only thing I'll say about self-defense in this video. If you're in the woods and you get entangled with an animal, you have a long blade that pierces beautifully. The BPS Adventure is one heck of a forest knife. Just an awesome blade to have on the camp, an awesome blade to take on the trail, and just a really good working tool that's got some size to it. And she's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. In fact, I will drop a link in the description if you want to go out and review it and maybe get you one. I'll tell you something else too. I get rid of a lot of the blades that I review, not because they're not awesome, just because I don't need to let stuff pile up so much. I've got to have some continuity here. I'm going to be keeping my BPS Adventurer. If that tells you anything about this blade, you should know that's a huge compliment. I've reviewed more tactical fixed blades than I have bushcraft on my channel actually, but this is definitely one of my favorites I have reviewed in the area of bushcraft. It's big, it comes with a great sheath, it comes stacked with a good ferro rod, a good sharp spine, and this is easy to keep sharp. I'd call that pretty dang useful, my friend. Do you have the BPS Adventure? I'd love to hear about your experience with it. What do you think about BPS knives? Is there one you like better than the others? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.